I'm gonna give you an absurd scenario, and I wanna see if you can figure out the correlation between that scenario and reality before I reveal what I'm talking about. Imagine you end up in an alternate universe and everything is the same, except that there's this weird law that requires every house to be built to also have a home gym, like a fitness center. So you're talking to your friend about it and you're like, isn't this a bit ridiculous? And they're like, what are you talking about? Do you not care about health? And you're like, no, yes I do. I just think it's weird that we require it. And he's like, dude, public health is incredibly important and I would not work out if I didn't have a home gym. And you're like, no, I get that. You want a home gym, but what if someone would prefer to have like a gym membership where they meet other people, and in order to do that, they could also have a more affordable house. And your friend's like, have you seen the side of town that doesn't have home gyms? Like, that place was built before this law was, and it's incredibly poor and like ugly and gross. Are you saying you want the rest of the town to look like that? And you're like, no, I don't want that. But perhaps maybe the people that can't afford houses with home gyms have to live in those areas. And so there's a disproportionate amount of people who are like underserved in those areas. And that's what's causing that. And you're like, look, have your house with a home gym, but maybe if your neighbor doesn't want to have one, they don't have to have one. And they're like, I don't even want to look at a house without a home gym. I want to live in a neighborhood, just houses with home gyms. And you're like, okay, that's fine. You can have a neighborhood or a community that does that, but essentially, maybe you have to maintain the public realm, the streets and the sidewalks. And your friend's like, that's a gated community. I can't afford a gated community. So wait, you can't afford a gated community, but you want to codify that essentially all the housing is the housing style and the expense of a gated community? Now, everything that I just talked about, replace the word home gym with like single family houses with yards. No, but you see, I want a yard. I love my yard. That's fine. Let your neighbor build a duplex or a triplex and take up more space of his house without that. No, but that's ugly. I don't want to look at that. That's fine. Get a group of people together, build your neighborhood, but maintain your own roads. Like if the public realm isn't welcoming to other people and things that can help afford society, then you can exclude other people, but maintain your own road. I can't afford a gated community. So you want to enact laws that essentially make neighborhoods like gated communities with the expense of gated communities, but you want to pass that expense on to the public and the rest of the world. Like for example, these two houses in Orlando, they share the same backyard. But if you wanted to drive from one house to the other, it would be a 20-minute drive. Because gated communities purposely don't have through streets. Who wants traffic driving through their neighborhood? They only have one singular use. Housing. So if you're not there to return to your house or visit someone who lives there, you're not supposed to be there. So they create these labyrinth of streets with an entrance and an exit right next to each other so that traffic isn't allowed to go through. And the buildings in that area, the houses, do not bring in property taxes that afford those streets. So it is, in a sense, subsidized by other areas of town. Your nice neighborhood is essentially a publicly gated community subsidized by the people who live in the urban environment. Like, this is the disproportionate amount of money that's brought in by urban versus rural areas. I'm not calling for the extinction of the single family home. I'm not even calling for the extinction of a neighborhood that's exclusively single family home. What I'm calling for is the extinction of laws, which is simply codify the least sustainable way to run a city financially because of the stated preferences of some, with a complete disregard for the preferences of others. If you can afford to live in a single family neighborhood and pay for your own infrastructure, a gated community, do so. If you want to live in a single family house, have your yard. But the average American spends more time maintaining their yard than they actually do enjoying it. It's like the people in the home gym world washing off their equipment more than actually using it.